Hello again, everyone, and good day. Welcome back to my channel, and we will continue our discussion regarding development of database of a database application using C Sharp and Visual Studio Code, or rather Visual Studio 2022. We are also using Microsoft SQL Server to store the database that we need to access in our application. Now, before everything else, I would like us to set up our GitHub repository to store our project. The importance of that is we'll have a backup or an online backup of the source code that we are developing. And at the same time, later on, we will be able to share the development process by creating different branches of our repository. However, for the moment, our main concern will just be to create a repository that will store a backup copy of our source code in GitHub and how to update it from time to time every time we make updates to our application. The first step to make sure before we are going to make a repository is to see to it that uh, we are signed into GitHub using our browser. So it's much more convenient that way. Although you can also proceed to creating a repository and sign in during that process, but it's always an advantage to sign in before creating the local repository. So let's do that. So I'm logging in to my GitHub account. Okay. And then it requires you to authenticate via SMS. So you verify the puzzle first. You make it point downwards. In this case, I think that's the right one. Then we submit, and then we send SMS. Okay. Okay. If we do that first, we click send SMS. You'll send a message, okay, for an authentication code into your phone. Okay, so now we have our GitHub account, and we have our in here. I already have my repositories. Okay, so now after having opened it, let's proceed to opening our GitHub project. This is the DB project which I've shown you earlier. Okay, now the next step is to create a local repository. What is a local repository? This is to set up your folder or the location in which you are saving your source code to be a mirror of, or rather the main source of a mirror to be created or in GitHub. The mirror is sometimes is commonly called as the clone. Okay, so we can clone this. We can make a clone repository such that every now and then we can update the clone repository so that it will become in sync with our local repository. Okay, how do we create a local repository? Now, if you head over to the lower portion of your Visual Studio 2022, there's in the right hand side before the right hand edge, you have add to source control. Okay, you click this and you choose Git. Okay, and then right away, since we have already uh, logged in, okay, we already have our account ready here. That's the advantage. Okay, you can declare this to be private or public if you want, but anyway we can edit it later in GitHub. And then the next thing to do is create and push. What it is doing really is to create a repository that is a mirror or a clone of the repository we currently have in our hard disk. Now you see there in the git changes you have 00, which means zero incoming and zero outgoing, which means that our git repository is currently updated. We can head over to our git account and check what happened there. Okay, here's our GitHub. Let's refresh. Now we have DB project as one of the repositories. If you open it we have our commands, we have our files, and we have the images, which also contains the images that we have uploaded before. So everything that we do, whether we edit files, we add images, we do it using Visual Studio, so that at the same time, Git will be able to monitor, okay, the needed updates. Now, to demonstrate the process, let us edit our main form. Okay, let us try to add another button. But before we do that, uh, let's view our Solutions Explorer. Okay, we can click here. These are the needed Git changes. There's none for the moment. If you look at our Solution Explorer, the files have been checked, which means they have been uh, pushed to our main repository. Okay, and if you look at our main designer, we have a button and a label. And if you have the same thing in our rather in our Git repository, let's open FRM designer. You see, we have the same, and then we have a label and a button. Okay, stored there. Let's try to edit this and add a new button. Okay, let's go to the form design and let's add a button. Okay, okay. Uh, let's call this say hello, btn hello. Okay, and we'll have here our text to be say hello. Okay, and we can also change our font if you like. So you can change size like that. Save all for the moment, and then uh, uh, what we'll do is add an image and try to find out if the image is also saved. Okay, uh, can we open in File Explorer? So we have that here. We have images here now. So let's try to go to free icons png, and let's look for a hello. This time we'll use a png. Okay. Let's use this. We'll download this as png, and we will open our Visual Studio and sorry, and open this in File Explorer. And then under images, we paste rather the Hello Kitty icon. Okay, let's look at the Git changes. Okay, you have images here, and it's already recorded. We'll find out if it will be marked later uh, uh, when we commit our stash. Okay, and then we'll put this image here in this button, local resource. Okay, Okay, let's extend our form more so we can also extend. Okay, let's save this. And then uh, for the button, for the click event, we just say message box show. Okay. Okay. This is just for demonstration purposes. Anyway, and then let's run. Okay. So if you click here, okay, it creates the message box. Okay. Okay. Now let's go back to our Visual Studio and commit and stash. This is we repeat this every time we are going to update our repository in GitHub. Okay. So we to do that we'll go to the Solutions Explorer. We right click on the project, okay, and go to Git and then commit or stash. I'm going to put the steps needed, okay, in the description below. Okay. Then we put a description. We added a button and image. Okay. So now they are marked M and A, and the image we have added is marked A or added or appended. Okay. Okay. And then okay, let's do that. Did we commit our stash already? Let's do that again. Git. Oops. Yes. We have this. So 3 files were marked M or modified, and 1 file is marked added. Okay. We click plus to the next step to stage all. Okay. We click plus to stage all. Okay. And then we choose commit stage. Okay. So we have one outgoing and 0 incoming. Okay. We'll save this all first. Make sure double check. And since we have commit stage, we are now click push to upload. This is the push. Okay. So now it's running in the background. Okay. Let's refresh our GitHub repository and let's look at our FRM designer. Find out if something changed there. Yes, we have a third button called Git and Hello. So it is now pushed there. Let's look at our images. Find out what's happening there. The Hello Kitty icon is also placed there. So I hope you got the point, no? So in summary, what do we do? First, we log into the GitHub route to GitHub to make sure it's easy to do the creation of the repository. And then we create a local repository by clicking add source control in the lower right hand part, lower right border, Visual, Visual Studio 2022, and choose Git. That basically creates the local repository and creates the master branch. That's what we need to do every time we create a new project. Then for pushing, okay, we click on the project name. And we do this every time we update our repository. This is the first two we only do once. We right click on the project name. We choose commit or stash. We put a description, okay, what we have modified. New files will be marked M for indicator. A will be indicator for newly added files, and M indicator for 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 modified files. will be displayed. Okay. Then we click state the plus sign, okay, for stage all. This will unsave all files from the project folder. And then choose commit stage, the drop down box there. Where is that? When you go to your Git changes here. Okay. This will be the down box. We'll say commit stage. Okay. It will not push it yet, but later we will push by clicking this button. Okay. Now we don't have any pending push and pulls. There's zero incoming and zero outgoing because we have just done that. And that does it. I hope you follow. No? We will be doing this every time, every now and then, when we make updates to our application, so that we'll be able to ensure that we have our backup in GitHub, and we'll be able to, undo an update or go back to a previous version if you want. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.